Good evening, everyone. I am Joyce F. Patatag, the last reporter. In my report, I am going to tackle about different personalities of Asia that help ignite the sense of nationalism. Okay, before anything else, let's discuss first the meaning of nationalism and why is it essential. According to Andres Bonifacio, nationalism was the highest and purest kind of love. It was also the state of mind and deep sentiments of a certain group of people towards their native land and to the people who belong to the nation. So, in other words, when we say nationalism, kabalo naman tano that it is the love of a person or a group of people for their own country. So, why is it essential to have nationalism in a country? Well, it is essential in which people holds that each country should rule in itself, free from outside intervention. And it promotes the interest of nation as a group of people. So that's the reasons why nationalism is very essential. And also it is important because it enables people to unite and act as one to defend and fight for the betterment of the country. Asian nationalisms have deployed historical memories in myths, belief in a shared ethnicity, links to a territorial homeland, and shared cultural characteristics such as language, literature, religion, and customs to create a sense of common identity, purpose, and responsibility. Nationalism developed earlier and faster in some Asian countries than in others. It took quite varied forms. In Japan and Thailand, it was based on loyalty to a sovereign and the revival of traditional religion. In China, it was strongly linked to support for a republic, to the restoration of national sovereignty, and eventually to support for the Communist Party. And in India, nationalism was based on self rule and the ideal of a secular democracy. However, everywhere in Asia, nationalism was a reaction to foreign imperialism or colonialism, and it grew out of a fear of the great powers and a determination to strengthen the nation. Now, moving on to the personalities of Asia that help ignite the sense of nationalism among its people. I will be going through some of the countries that belongs Asia or most commonly to Southeast Asia. So, we have here first Japan. Japan's sense of estrangement contributed to the growth of militaristic kind of nationalism. It was promoted that the divine task of Japan, or people strongly believed that gods always help Japan, was the establishment of social balance. There are a lot of features of Japanese nationalism, such that it always goes from the state, using centralization and government control of all reforms in different areas of Japanese life. Next, we have India. Most religious nationalist parties possess a puritanical streak that colors their electoral platforms and subsequent methods of governance with a moral cadence. One unique aspect of India's development is the degree of moral authority. China. Nationalism is a relatively modern concept. It emerged in Europe in the 16th and 18th centuries as a way of expressing attachment and to mobilizing support for the nation states that were then coming into being. It was supported characterized by a feeling of shared ethnic and linguistic identity as well as shared different from other groups. There was a sense of continuity based on the cycle dynasties gaining the mandate of heaven. Now, moving on to some countries of Southeast Asia, we have Philippines. First, let's discuss nationalism in the Philippines. During 19th century, the Philippine nationalism was born in which people are started and began to think herself as one nation with common religion, custom, tradition, history, destiny, and aspiration. The more people act as one of cultural background, including language and heritage, is the more they act the nationalism in the country. Alright, let's proceed to the factors that lead or give rise to Filipino and Philippine nationalism. First is opening of the Suez Canal gave way to the easy transportation from Europe to Asia. Naopen ni ang Suez Canal in 19th century. Kaning Suez Canal is ruta ni siya nga padung sa Europe to Asia o Asia to Europe. It made the Philippines closer to world trade and communication and travel. That makes more travelers and information came to the Philippines. Second is the spread of liberalism. Liberal ideas from Europe, filtered in thoughts of famous political philosophers, were made known through books and periodicals brought into the country by men from foreign ports. Third is the improvement of transportation and the communication facilities that brought Filipinos closer, which made them realize the common predicament. And dagan pang factors that led to the rise of Philippines nationalism. Again, the rise of liberal ideas, development in international trading, political instability in Spain, the issue of secularization, and the execution of Gombarza. Because of the factors that happened during early times, the national consciousness was growing among Filipinos, in which hastened the growth of Filipino nationalism in the country. Next, we have Indonesia. An important factor contributing to the rise of Indonesian nationalism was the fact that the Dutch adopted the policy under which the colonial government aimed to modernize Indonesia. Although it was done mostly for the benefit of the ruling country, the indigenous population received benefits indirectly, such as educational reform, helping Indonesian children who were from the middle ranking officers and Christian families study the Western technology and vision, including the Dutch language. Later, education had expanded so much that the adoption of Bahasa Indonesia, or the Indonesia language, as the country's national language received nationwide support. Bahasa Indonesia was based on and developed from Malay. Consequently, different ethnic groups on various islands of Indonesia used Bahasa Indonesia as a medium of language to communicate. Moreover, that transportation reform made traveling easier and less time consuming between cities and rural areas. Bahasa Indonesia became a symbol of national unity. So that's all for our report. We hope you learned something and thank you for listening.